party is.
I don't know. We are talking about some serious stuff here with this full moon in Taurus. So Amalia, Natalia, and Madeleine Parker with you today on this very cloudy, gloomy day in South Florida. It looks a little brighter in Sandpoint, Idaho, not so much.
It's gloomy.
Ah, yeah. We've got some interesting
Rainy.
energy. Got some interesting energy to talk about and to share with you. We are talking about the Taurus full moon, which will be on November 15th at 4:29 p.m. Eastern at 24 degrees, 0 minutes.
Yeah.
So it is right on it. No deviating off of that 24th degree. So Madeleine and I were chatting before the live stream. And for those of you who are waiting for us live, so sorry, there was some Zoom changes and I had to update some things, but we're here. What's really interesting about this upcoming full moon is that there's I feel like we're still in that intensity of the Scorpio new moon. Okay, it's the 5th of November as we're going live. If you're catching the replay, that this is the day we're doing it, and Scorpio is already very intense. And we've got, as at this full moon, we're going to have the sun will still be in Scorpio, the moon is in Taurus, and so we're bringing, to me, it feels like that the emotional depth of Scorpio to that kind of grounded, yet there might be a little bit of it's like that fluctuating grounded energy. Like you don't feel fully solid. Like you can take a step and your foot will hit the ground. It'll land, but you may feel a little wobbly, like you're going to lose your balance in the process. And this got me thinking about the Taurus new moon on May 7th of this year. And so for those of you who, like, maybe you remember what was happening in your life, there's going to be some recurring themes, maybe some completion energy, maybe some refinement, maybe some projects or relationships that you were working on then that you maybe now are being called to let go of. The key themes for Taurus are your values, your sense of worth, what is valuable to you, the financial world, agriculture, relationships, pleasure. So if you think about all of those things, there can be this feeling of jubilation with them, or a feeling of like, oh gosh, if you think about finances, sometimes it can be really exciting and sometimes not so much. We have some pretty interesting aspects to this moon. And I know that Madeleine is going to go into a deep dive into all of the astrology, but just a couple of key aspects I want to bring up. And also the body gates for this Taurus moon are the neck, the throat, the thyroid, the vocal cords, your Adam's apple, tonsils, larynx. So to me, there feels like a very key theme of voice, which we'll be talking about later with the flower for this full moon. All right, so we've got, with every full moon, we have the sun and the moon opposing each other, shining a light, that inner and outer reflection. There may be a feeling of completion or refinement that's going to take place right now. There's also the moon and Uranus are conjunct. Uranus is also retrograde, so that's going to shift the energy a bit. Uranus is obviously in Taurus along with the moon. And, I love Uranus, but Uranus also makes me a little nervous because Uranus is sudden change, things like shock and the unexpected. And sometimes like a surprise is nice, but sometimes a surprise can be unwelcome. And just to be prepared, because it's hanging out with the moon, there is likely going to be an emotionally connected component. I was going to say challenging, but we don't know if it's going to be challenging. It might not be. So just be aware of the potential for emotional volatility, emotional upset. You might feel a little bit of a rebelliousness also during this, because Uranus is a very, very much like outside the box thinking and innovation. So just be aware of that. Then we also have the moon sextile Neptune, which is also in retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So, when I think about Neptune, especially retrograde, there is some clarity that might come. So you might feel a sense of emotional intelligence, like it might, things that were maybe unclear might become clear. Your intuition is heightened. It's very creative. And then we have the moon trine Pluto in Capricorn. And remember, Capricorn will be moving into the sign of Aquarius very soon after this full moon, 4 days later, actually, on the 19th, which is going to change the energy significantly over time. But this offers us an opportunity for very deep inner growth. It gives you a foundation for stable relationships if you understand your own emotional landscape. So this moon to me feels very emotionally charged. You know, I think of Uranus, I also think of electrical energy. So there's a lot of charge behind this. So remain flexible, expect the unexpected, nurture the relationship, both with your inner emotional world and with those around you. And the other one little piece of this I want to mention too is we have the retrograde planets, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron, not a planet, but still important to mention it's in retrograde. And Saturn is stationing direct. And this is a big deal from a foundation, forward moving foundational aspect. So everyone just be aware that they're, especially with today in the landscape of the political world, and people are very amped up about it. We don't know, obviously, on the 15th of November where things will be, but likelihood is high that there will still be a little bit of uncertainty. I was like, what is the word I'm looking for? Uncertainty. And, find those practices that bring you back into stillness, that bring you back to your center. Just keep coming back to center. Any sort of gentle breath work, any sort of gentle movement, I think would be really supportive. Find those things during this moon cycle that bring you pleasure. This is a great somatic practice of just rubbing your arms like this. If you're feeling a little out of sorts, put your right hand under your left armpit, left hand on your right shoulder, and just kind of give yourself a little hug. Come in like this. That's another really great way to bring yourself, to show you that you're not getting thrown around by the energy of the outside world. You've got your own boundaries within yourself. So I'm going to let Madeline share what she sees, the overarching things. And before we get into the 12 signs, I'll share the card for this.
Okay, yeah.
And big stuff, Madeline.
Okay, good. What do you got? I'm excited. I can't wait to see the cards you pull.
So what's shaking in the stars there, Madeline?
Yeah, it really sets the whole tone of the read.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to share your screen?
Oh, I thought you, okay. I go first, then you pull the card. I was waiting for the card. Okay.
Oh, do you want me to share the card? I'll do it now.
Oh, whatever you want. Sure. I suddenly really want to see the card.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? It's our show. I'm going to show the card.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Ooh.
This is the Grevillea.
Interesting.
Now, the Grevillea is one of those that activates fearless speech. And I find this fascinating considering the areas of activation with this Taurus full moon, the vocal cords. It's like, what are you speaking about? It's like
listening. Keep going. Yeah.
It enhances engagement with others. And so if we can think about this from the perspective of our emotional world, can we engage with others from a loving place, from a grounded place? With this card here too, or this flower, there is a fear maybe of hurting someone's feelings. So how can you speak your mind and speak your truth while honoring where someone else is coming from? And the intention that setting the groundwork for them to honor you. I feel like this is a really beautiful time for us to be able to have an exchange of ideas, an exchange of opinions, an exchange of beliefs in a way that honors where everyone is. Not so much my way is the right way, my way is the only way, my belief is it. it's really allowing everyone to have their space to share, their space to align with their truth. Yeah, I mean, it's just really
Very interesting.
being able to be authentic in our interactions with others. And I feel like that may be the challenge for this upcoming full moon, is for all of us to feel that sense of safety, Taurus, in being able to communicate, Taurus, with others in a way that feels secure, that feels safe, that feels like we're being heard. Always a conundrum, I think. So for at least for me, when I'm really speaking for my truth, and I really would like someone else to feel that with me and to be with me, and they may not, and to find a sense of stability without having outside approval, without having somebody else say, yeah, I agree with you, or yeah, that's right. So the Grevillea.
Well, that's interesting, because what you just were talking about made me want to look at what Mercury was doing, because you're going into communication, and Mercury is opposing Jupiter on this new moon, full moon. But what's very interesting about that card is the message of this full moon, these are my notes, is to burn and purify. That
Yeah.
card totally looks like that.
Burning, yes.
Yep, burning, and
Like
yep. I'm studying Vedic astrology right now, so I'm really reading about the nakshatras and everything. And this is part of the sky that is Aries Taurus, and which is literally like, you know, it's ruled by the fire god Agni, and it is literally like warrior. It's sorry, I've started. Were you done? I should.
No, yeah, you're good. So yeah, please just,
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn a light on as you start to share, because it got very dark. So I'll be right back.
Okay, sure. So yeah, it's part of the sky that is represented by the god of Agni, which is fire, and it has both signs of Aries and Taurus in it, which is very warrior, which is very Tarzan. The story of this Kritika Nakshatra is about a child or young boy that's a orphan and brought up in the wilderness, and is wild. He's feral, and he has a sword or a knife or a sharp edge, and he's just like wild. So this is a very wild energy full moon. You know, this is like, and it's almost like it involves sharp knives. Like people who are born with this nakshatra are really good with knives and weapons and things like this. This can be wars, right, on the planet Algol. This could be, you know, if I'm going to talk about the mundane astrology right now, we're looking at the bigger picture, which is important, because we're all going to be our how it's aspecting our chart is kind of there's a background story in the collective, which I think we're seeing a tie in the election. And then on that day of the full moon, we're going to see the results. And I think some one half of the country, because we're so polarized, might have a big outroar, or, you know, there might be unrest, social unrest. So there is like, it's a Venus ruled full moon. So there's a lot of relationship stuff involved. So it's like love amongst the ruins. And it's like, I mean, this is a dramatic time, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And this energy of Kritika is like there was this animation of the energy. You can watch animations on each nakshatra. I mean, it is this warrior wild man in the jungle going with a knife, and he's like jumping down. So it's like I'm sitting here going, and it's on the planet of Algol, which is the Medusa, which is the same spot which was triggered in the chart when Trump was attempted, and this is hitting right on his MC. So I worry for him. I hope he's safe, you know. And but we are seeing, you know, interesting revolutionary type energies occurring where we could see public cutting of the no more, it's sort of akin to like if something is tangled in a net and the knife comes in and cuts it and sets it free, like a dolphin stuck in a fishing line, because it's sitting on Uranus. So there's some sort of liberation of here. I mean, maybe we suddenly divide the country into two halves all of a sudden. I mean,
well, there is talk about that. I mean, there are
you know,
states that are looking to, and Algol too isn't. I mean, one thing I've learned about Algol is in myth. I mean, it's a story of losing your head, and that could be figurative, could be literally and figuratively as well. Like people just losing their minds, and I feel like there's a lot of that energy already at play.
Yes, and you know, here's the thing that I watched this Asian man go from the Trump rally to the Biden rally or the Harris rally, and he said he's neutral, he's neither side, and he said both the people on each side were really nice and perfectly normal and exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, it's an illusion that we're different. We all want the same thing. So I hope, and now the other positive side, because this is Kritika, which is the ending, like strict ending, and this is happening at the same time 2 years that Israeli war began. So this could be because we've got the South Node. I'll pull up the chart, shall I? I'm getting excited here.
Yeah.
It could be that we end the war because I'm going to pop the chart because when Uranus is in the picture, it's a wild card, you know, but I'm going to try to be as detailed as possible as you can be with Uranus in the picture. But whatever the outcome is going to be, like you say, Uranus is always positive. There is a liberation out of it. Kritika is, we're cutting some kind of thing in our personal. Now I'm going to shift to personal lives. We're cutting some kind of entanglement, some kind of something that is holding us back. We're having courage. We're having this definitive energy of like just severing some kind of thing that's holding us back, a fear, you know, and this is a time of shift and sudden radical shift and changes in our lives. So we're going one way and then all of a sudden we're going another way, like, whoa. So that's why I think something does happen in the collective that changes all of our minds, changes all of our lives, puts us on mission. This is a part of the sky. It's the warrior, Kritika. He's the warrior. He's like, if you look him up, is this like Tarzan character, you know, who's got to make light of it because, you know, no point in being afraid. We don't want astrological anxiety. We just want to be forewarned and connected and tuned in and ready to align and help create a more positive result, which is to eliminate the separation energy, which is energy of Aquarius. It pulls us together. So whatever happens, we do become more, believe it or not, it's hard to believe because we're so polarized, but on some level, we're going to find some kind of a balanced agreement in these times where we all sort of, not everybody's happy. Like nobody gets more. So there's some kind of a, everybody loses, but everybody wins, middle ground type of a thing happening here. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's really hard to call it on that political background, but it's love amongst the ruins because it's ruled by Venus. So Kritika is the destroyer and it's transformation because of that knife. It's destroy, it burns and then purifies. So it destroys so it can rebuild. So something that is not liberating or entangled that is holding us from ourselves or our liberated path gets like the air balloon gets cut off its anchor and goes float. So we're burning and purifying and transforming. And now this is a full moon, which means there's a culmination, there's results, like you said, of that new moon that happened in May 7th, I think.
Yeah, May 7th.
Yeah, and this is, you know, it's a Venus ruled new moon, but you know what? Let's look at Venus. What's Venus doing? Well, Venus is doing something again that emphasizes this shift. Like you can look at these transits from Vedic side, all different angles, and you're going to see the same message because Rahu and Ketu are in the picture, which means our destinies are totally shifting. The ruler of this full moon is squaring the nodes. We are changing direction. We're going, whoa, well, let's go. We're, you know, this is why we're getting surprise shift of direction here, because whenever the nodes are involved, it's ecliptical. It has some kind of an ecliptical shift going on in our life, which means you can pinpoint the major days that your life changes by these nodal types of contact in our charts. And of course, it depends on our own charts individually, how they're aspected by this. Pluto and Mars, the good news is on this full moon is Pluto and Mars are a little bit off. They're not fully on opposite each other. Oh, I'm in Vedic. Sorry, let me go out. Sorry, guys. Back to here. Okay, so there's Pluto 29 degrees and Mars is a little off 3 or 4 degrees off of Pluto. So that's a little nicer energy that eased up the intensity. A lot of that intensity you're feeling, by the way, is Pluto in its last degrees of Capricorn. I'm telling you, because I watched the Pluto Aquarius move back and forth. As soon as Pluto moves into Aquarius, we get this lighter feeling. It's much lighter. So that's a good thing that's happening. Although on this new moon, full moon, Pluto is not officially shifted yet. It shifts on the 19th. but Saturn is direct, and it is, you know, Saturn helps being direct, but
Mhm.
the positives of this new moon, which again is what I always see in these challenging transits, is beautiful openings, the trine to Neptune,
Yeah.
that Jupiter sextiling the Chiron. So we've healed, you know, as a collective. We're really in our power. We're ready to take on this is about stepping forward and taking our calling and missions. I really believe that, because it's hitting to the, it's about shifting into the new era. As soon as that Neptune shifts into Aries, and then we got this in Aquarius, and then we're going to have Uranus shifting into Gemini. We're really shifting the entire energetic energy about our civilization, and we're really shifting into the new paradigm. And so this full moon is really us really, because even when studying the nakshatras and everything about this, it's all about our mission. It's about stepping up to the calling, and doing what needs to be done. And I'm not a proponent of violence, but that is the darn part of the sky. I'm not saying that that's the answer. I think in the age of Aquarius, we are awakened up to how our energies are drained by pitting us against each other, and that we see through the differences that we think there are, and there are none, because we're all humans. We all come from source. We're all kind of one, really. And we shift out of separation consciousness into union consciousness and whole, what do we call it? Opposite of separation is whole consciousness. We are one consciousness, because we're all made with the same stuff, you know. We all have the same ingredients. So anyway, so the positive of this, we have Mars in a really nice spiritual trine to Neptune, like a Jupiterian. This is higher consciousness. We're growing as a collective. We have we're awakening to higher consciousness, higher truths. We're walking a more higher consciousness path. We're breaking through old paradigms, like old paradigms, and like old patterns are dying away. As soon as that Pluto moves into Aquarius, we're really going to feel we're going to feel brand new as people. We're transformed in these energies. So something, we're going to go through all the 12 signs. So something in our charts, we are making some kind of a mental, because at Critica, we're making a transformative shift in our lives, and redirecting and seeing what our true mission is. I can kind of see mine already. I can see it happening. So we're sort of waking up and making sudden shifts and changes in our directions, and feeling very called to action, called to purpose. And most likely relationship and money supported, because it's a Venus is supporting this, which means Venus is saying, when we go this way, we're going to be better in our relationships and better in our money. So it's like we listen to the transformative direction, because we have a lot of water in these energies. We've got Neptune is in water, and it's all pointing to water. So it's like the truth, the heart, our intuitive, our empathic nature. If we go empathic towards our fellow man, we're going to settle the results of these energies. You know, it's the charts pointing to Neptune, which is empathic, forgiveness. It's the higher, it's pointing to the highest, it's pointing to God, basically the highest frequency energy of the light. So it's like, do we transform and become more enlightened through this time, or do we become aggressive and fight and mean to each other, and not see each other for who we really are, which is, you know, we're all here scrambling, doing the best we can. I do read a lot of people, everybody I do readings on, everyone's just trying to do the best they can. Everybody, both sides of the aisle.
That's true.
So can we get on board and support each other, because we're humans, if we're the call of humanity, you know? So we're all on the same team, because we're humans. So that's the side that we're going to collectively become on during the time that Pluto is in Aquarius. We're going to wake up to that. So this full moon is very wild card in our lives. You know, you're going to want to check your charts and see whatever you have at these 25, 26, 27, 23, 24 degree range. if you're in a fixed sign, prepare your lives to be uncomfortably changed, because they are going to square the fixed. Like when you do that thing, you pop up, you're going to
I
see
was
that
going to
all.
share that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Oh, I'll stop my share. Yeah, because that's like uncomfortable for the fixed signs. They're not going to like it. They don't like these radical shifts and changes. But the point of these radical shifts and changes, and the reason we have Uranus and Taurus right now, is to rattle things to stability. It's to rattle the unstructured, to rattle the faulty structures so that it's stable and it lands on the ground on a stable. And so your fixed
Kind of
signs
like what
are,
I was, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Finish your thought.
Yeah,
No, finish your
yeah,
thought.
your fixed signs are Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, and what did I leave out?
Scorpio.
Scorpio. And so so this full moon will square you. So there's crisis in action and potential trigger, that's not
Here.
the
Yeah.
thing.
So Aquarius, Leo, we've got Scorpio here opposing, and then Taurus. So you're going to feel it if you've got any planets or points in the 19 to 20. What was it?
27. You
So
could say?
19 to 29 degree
Yeah.
range. You'll be feeling this in any of these signs: Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo. And Madeline, what you were saying before is kind of what I was saying earlier about, like, when you take a step, it's like you're not feeling like there's,
Yeah.
you will, your foot will land,
Yes.
but it's very, it just feels very unstable, uneasy.
Well, that's
The way
coming
you
from someone who's
describe,
got a lot of, I think that's because you feel it because it's so strong, because you've got a lot of fixed in your chart, which I think is very interesting. I think you are probably feeling that quite strong.
yes,
Yeah.
I definitely do.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And there is,
I,
I think for everyone, there is a little bit of that feeling. I've had a number of calls today with people
mhm,
that really are not sure how to handle the energy that they're feeling coming from
mhm.
all directions with the election landscape. And
Right.
one gal that I had a call with today was asking me, she's like, well, what are you doing? What is it that you're sharing with people, and what are you saying? And there have been a few times, there's so many people that have so many things to say about what's going on, and what I was feeling guided to do was to be silent, to really
Mm.
just be in a space of allowing events to unfold and just kind of standing on the outside with just love.
Like an observer.
Yeah, just
Observing. Yeah.
sending love to everyone involved, and finding a place of peace in whatever way they can.
Mhm.
And that's easier said than done for some, truly. So
Easier, less easy for your fixed.
well, and I think for me, one of the I'm not super, I mean, I'm aware of what's happening in the political
Yeah.
world, but I don't get consumed by it. It just has not been healthy for me in the past. So I've
Yes.
decided to have a different approach. And I realized that as I got to understand my soul signature more, I realized that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here
Mhm.
to shout from the rooftops about my beliefs around politics or
Mhm.
what is right, quote unquote, or wrong, quote unquote.
Who's got the white hat? Who's got the black hat?
It's
Both sides, it's kind of gray, really.
Yeah. So that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here
Mhm.
to do this work I feel like Madeline, you and I are similar in that way. We're
Yeah.
here to show different perspectives, to show the bigger picture, to help support people in times of transition and change, and to feel a sense of stability in times when things don't necessarily feel at all stable, and
Yeah.
to have a sense of optimism around what can be after going through a tough period of time. And,
Yeah.
you know, that is our intention with sharing this with
Yes.
all of you.
Right. To really sort of help people understand what's going on in the stars and the bigger picture. Because when you see the bigger picture, you're seeing it from an ascendant perspective, whereas looking at it from the stars. So then that helps us understand it, and then we can align with it in a conscious, more enlightened way. And then we manifest a better result through the transit. So that's about being conscious, of of how we live. So, all
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Where are
So,
we? I just want to make sure I have said everything. What do we got else? We got else. I think that's good. I think we did it all.
okay.
Let's come out in the rest of the going through all the 12 signs. So let's start. I mean, wait, I'm just going to line the chart up to Aries here while you chat, I guess, or whenever you
Okay.
say go.
Yeah, if anyone, yeah, for anyone who is currently watching us live, please do feel free to interject, to add, to comment, to share your sun, moon, or rising sign, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. And I know today is kind of an odd day. I was feeling like last time we had a lot of engagement. It was super fun. Madeline and I both received lots of positive
I
feedback.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I feel like today people are kind of in their little bubble and doing their thing. So if that is you today and you're not joining us live, you're catching the replay, still comment and let us know, because we'd be happy to support you if something comes up. So I guess we're going to go start off with Aries.
Does this show up the right way or is it mirror?
No, it's the right way.
Okay, I got to do this really long because it's really hard for me to find it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's crazy. I spent forever trying to find it. Okay. Okay, so Aries is going to happen this in their second house. So I would say that it would, so let's look at Venus. Venus will be in your 10th and is squaring the nodes in your 1st and your 7th. So there is a sudden radical shift, and then it goes to that, wow, to that 12th house of Pisces. So it's like with the Neptune there. So it's like suddenly changing. It's like you suddenly can quit because something could come in, because also this is an auspicious part of the sky too. So some kind of new way of making money, because that you initiated on that new moon, suddenly bears fruit, and this harvest on this, and it really upgrades your finances. It's a way to make money that is like, that means you can end your other ways of making money, like you can, and also you end some kind of a fear, because this is what's, I think if we're using these energies the right way, where that knife, that cut is cutting a fear. It's stopping us from not going an abundant path and being liberated and being free. So it's like you suddenly cut some old way of seeing things, and some old fear around money is just eliminated, and you just become a warrior, and you step forward on a cause and a mission to earn money in a way that's really involving your talent and your calling. And again, this is a relationship transit because it's ruled by Venus, so it most likely will involve, now here's what's interesting, is we've got the nodes squaring that south node of Libra, so we're ending relationships, man, just like that, cut, suddenly a text, boom, and ending a relationships, or because you're really ready to release and step onto your path, or just ending any sort of pattern that you have in relationships and now ready to be in a true relationship, or if you're already in a relationship, to really just end the problems in the relationships and get on the same page and go forward on a mission together. And this is abundant, sort of a culmination of a new seed that we planted in May 7th that now bears fruit and enables you to really expand abundantly and be liberated financially in some sort of magical, all of a sudden way. I mean, that's pretty nice, huh?
That is pretty nice.
Yeah. And it does involve partnerships because you've got the nodes in your 1st and 7th. So I think we're going to get that as a theme throughout because it is a Venus ruled. So go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's great. I think, I feel like that covers kind of the big topics for most people: money and love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, those are the two things that I feel like we really tend to spend a lot of energy on: money and love. Okay. So for Aries, we have the saguaro cactus, and this was actually the flower for Leo during this most recent new moon in Scorpio. So I'm very familiar with this sort of energy and what it brings to the table. And I love this for Aries because it offers Aries a place to dissolve any misaligned or disharmonious intentions. So if you're thinking about this in terms of wealth creation or values or anything like that, like, what is their approach? What is your approach in these situations that could lead to a potential for financial prosperity or the potential for a partnership? there's also an energy of your willingness to be of service. So this is not so self-oriented. It's also has to do with another. Again, that just back in with what you were saying, Mel.
Yes.
And yeah, and then there is still that fearless independence, which is a bit of an Aries trait, I believe. So
Yep.
you're not losing who you are in this. You're just expanding what's already there. So I love the saguaro cactus in that way. And it's also a flower that that blooms in very harsh conditions. So you might have a little bit of a challenge that comes up in this energy, but know that you have all that you need in order to move through it and find that stability that you're looking for. So
You know what, I think I know what that's, after seeing that card, I know what the Aries cut, what they critica, what they go coot on.
what is it?
Their egos. They now go, they cut that ego out. They break through their egos, and that mind, that idea of them, whatever, something they think they shouldn't do and it's their purpose, they cut that ego, like they go a spiritual path, and most Aries don't believe in that. So it's like they cut that limited belief or limited thinking, and then they expand into their soul's truth, that breakthrough. It's definitely a breakthrough thing because it's Uranus.
Well, that looks like one.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Nice. So let's look at Taurus. Well, Taurus. So Taurus, this is in your first house if you're Taurus rising. But again, if it's in your sun, we don't know what house it's in, but you're going to feel this, Taurans, no matter what. I mean,
taking a deep breath.
You know what? I like it though for Taurus, because I think that Taurans are being rattled out of their security, and if you came here as Taurus, you were here for this transit to shift you out of some sort of fear of not trusting God in the change, because that's why they don't like change, because they don't think they're going to land okay. But now you're supposed to trust the change, trust the earthquake. This could be an earthquake too. So it's like, trust the earthquake, trust that you'll settle and land. Like, that's what Taurans have to do. They have to trust the change, right? So we are going to settle after this. It's not always going to be this unsettled energies, just while Uranus is in Taurus, and that's going to change and go into Gemini soon in May. So anyway, so for Taurans, you're going to it's the moon right there. It's like a radical change in direction, radical change of mind. If something comes in from that new moon that was initiated around May 7th, that just suddenly liberates you. Your Venus planet is in the 9th house. Maybe you suddenly travel, or you have a completely and utter new radical belief. Now it involves Venus, so maybe your mate, maybe your spouse. Some Taurans could maybe get into a relationship if you're in your later half of life. It could be your second partner coming in there on the 9th house. But a lot of that is around, and it's Capricorn up there. So there is some sort of a mission and some sort of a new belief to serve humanity, and to be that's what this is, a humanitarian new moon. And it's about, and it is very auspicious if you step into a humanitarian purpose, which means you're motivated because you know what you do heals and improves life for humanity. Then you've got this motivation. It fills your cup, and it makes you want to feel. It makes you love to be alive on the planet. So it's like Taurans are breaking out of their comfort zone, trusting the change, knowing they're going to settle. Like you're watching something like an old structure break, and you just got to sit there and watch, like you said, just watch it where it lands, and then grow from there. But this is basically mostly in the identity of the Taurus, because it's in your first house, mostly on what you think, or what you, like you say, way more authentic, real version of Taurans are coming out. The truth of a Taurus opens up here. Perhaps, like you say, sun communication, because we don't forget we've got that Jupiter opposing Mercury. So we have major shifts in beliefs going on. It's mutual reception. So it's like there's a certain receptivity to that when there's mutual reception over the opposition. Like people agree, they absorb it more, it fits. So it's like we've got these new beliefs hitting for Taurans, where they feel free to trust that this shakeup and changes are going to put them in a much more higher desired level or something that pleases you more. If you didn't risk, you wouldn't have gotten to there. Like you're settling for less, and now you're going to get more if you would just be okay with the shakeup to land you higher. So that's the Taurus one.
Well, and that's a tough thing because
Yeah.
Taurus folks tend to like, well, you said it, they don't like change.
Right.
They crave security and stability. And right now we're in a place where there is inevitable change and there is not
Yeah.
much security or stability to be found in this moment.
Right.
It's coming,
Right. Right.
but it's not here now. So we have fireweed.
You have to trust. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do have to trust. Yeah, absolutely. So we have the fireweed for Taurus. And this to me feels kind of Venusian. It feels kind of like Venus. It's like,
So
yeah. This flower, the fireweed flower, is a flower that encourages us to forgive someone, including ourselves. It allows us to heal the heart by dissolving any emotions around challenging experiences. So that feels also, again, very Venusian. And it's also the feeling that love is all around you. And this card, this flower kind of reminds me of that you're surrounded by love. You're surrounded by the opportunity to forgive. You're surrounded by the opportunity to heal. That love is all around you if you would just look, just be aware that it's there and find those moments, find those connections, find those people. So fireweed for Taurus. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say about that. It just love, 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 love.
I find that card perfectly interesting because it really does show you that the Taurans now level up. They shake up into their more, it's like they're not survival. They're going to live more of the life of pleasure. The life a Taurus really wants to live. It's like higher quality. They like to live a very pleasing, high quality Venetian life. So now I think that card shows that they upgrade now to the more ideal life a Tauran wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's I find I say I love that a lot when we do these because I do. I love it all. It's also fascinating. And then
I know.
I feel it for each one of the signs, even if I don't necessarily have that prominently in my chart. It's like I know people that do, just like you, clients or friends, and it's like, oh, I feel that for them so deeply. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Gemini.
Gemini. Okay. How does it fare for Gemini here? So yeah, so this, being for Gemini is Taurus in their 12th. So that's a karmic thing. So I would think that that's a little bit challenging in the sense that there is a meeting up of, I mean, ultimately you're really ending some massive karmic at the end. I mean, by the way, everybody is with Pluto at that last degree, but like for that 12th house to be activated on this full moon, it's like ending a major karmic cycle, like the whole life karmic thing dead, just cut. And then you become healed, you become it's just entire ending of a cycle. So then either you forgive somebody. There could be, of course, a flare up with those energies, those warrior type energies of Critica, and it's a fire energy. So there's tempers, flare ups, and situations could flare up with that 12th house there. But it's really clearing a soul deep purge of an old karmic cycle. It involves relationships because it's in your 12th house. So ending a pattern of karmic type relationships, and I would say fear-based, survival-based attachments to relationships. And the nodes the nodes are in your let's see, your 5th and your 11th, so it's like squaring. So yeah, but old friends, it's actually quite a good relationship transit there on the nodes. So shifting to friends and tribes, new friends. But this is ultimately liberating you from this lower density karmic baggage that's been holding you back. And it's like cutting in, and you lift up like a kite. And that's a transformation energy, and you're off this entanglement, this karmic entanglement. You're done with it. So it could show up and then you end a relationship, or somebody passes in these energies that ends a karmic cycle, which means you have cleared your karma with this person. That happened with my mother. I knew we had cleared our karma and she passed away. I knew she wasn't going to pass until we had cleared our karma. And so that can be this resolve, this a culmination of an old pattern in relationships. So go ahead.
Wow. It is storming ferociously here right now.
Really?
So, you know, like I'm looking
Ooh.
out my sliding glass doors and the wind is literally taking the rain sideways.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's a sign, because it is an emotional, fiery, emotional, passionate sun in Scorpio, just to add that. So I think it's a sign that this is emotional for,
yeah, definitely.
Gemini.
And well, it's been like this for a while. So I feel like it's a message
For everybody.
all. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So here we go. We have the lilac for Gemini.
Nice.
This is kind of a sweet card. Again, we have a little more of the Venusian sort of colors and energy here. It activates flexibility. The message is adapt quickly to changes. So there's going to be some change in Gemini's life, which makes sense with the 12th house full moon for sure. This is what I really love about this one. The acceptance of things and people as they are. Accepting things and people as they are. And that feels very apropos right now in this sort of energy, particularly for Geminis who can see both sides of things. They can, you know, be in that space, and the ability to embrace change. So for any Geminis out there who really have needed to make a change in their life, now is a really opportune time where they will have the cosmic support to give them that feeling like they can do it, that they can activate that change. So I love the lilac for Gemini.
That seems like yeah, I guess I just always have to have a little comment on it because the cards. Yeah, I would think that that's like, because Gemini is supposed to be very mercurial and fun and light. So I think there's some sort of heavy density energy that's cleared from their psyche body that enables them to be lighter, more fun, more playful. Because Mercury, people are here to learn how to play and not be so serious. So it's like some kind of thing that is very serious is eliminated, and they lighten up.
Yeah,
I can smell the aroma of that flower.
I know, it's so beautiful. All right, so Cancer.
Okay, Cancer. Moon, people ruled by, they're often Cancer and Leo feel these transits pretty strongly. But it is in a positive angle. It's a sextile to your first house and a trine to your 7th house. So it's positive for your relationships and for you. And it is in your 11th house. So that's a really positive placement, because in the 11th house is lucky gains, long-term goals, interesting, very interesting, coming to fruition, coming to resolve in the full moon, a culmination. So something that may have been started a long or two ago, which could have happened when Uranus moved into Aquarius, because we've had several lunations there. We had a whole series of eclipses there. We had the Leo and the Scorpio. We had the fixed sign eclipses right before these. So basically some sort of liberation occurs for Cancers in the realm of social media. They may end, there may be an ending of a particular tribe, group, associations, and that are not supportive. And now the Cancer is liberated to go forward more on a joint thing with other half, because it trines your 7th house, or a partnership with somebody. So it's like you're going forward with some sort of project, mission, your calling. I do get that card a lot. And suddenly surprising, perhaps being seen or known, your social media taking off, because the 11th house is being seen. So all of a sudden, you know, your status changes completely, because that Critica energy is like, it's like just cuts it, changes it, just ends one thing and it transforms it. So it's going to go one way or the other, depending on what's going on for you in your social media platforms or whatever. But basically it's a liberating of anything that's weighing you down, relationships or groups that are weighing you down. And then like Venus is in your 7th house and it's squaring the nodes. And so there's some sort of shift in your careers, and some joint partnership or soul contracted relationship starts to really bear fruit and shifts your career in some pretty radical way, because you've had the eclipses there in your 10th house. So you might be seeing now the ecliptical changes those eclipses have been stimulating in your charts, and you can't really see them because they're seeds. It's hard to see where these changes grow, which seed is going to grow into the big change, or the which little plant that's growing. But one of these steps forward very strong. There's some sort of very strong success in this. If there is a crisis, then perhaps there is a again because you've got Mercury in your 6th house and Jupiter in your 12th, ending some sort of fear around communicating in your work, sort of a breakthrough in communication and speaking what you know, or being who you truly are. Because Uranus there in your social media house, you're able to really break through your ego, and that ego, that's a lot of this energy in the Kritika, and that you bust through and you sort of overcome some kind of self-consciousness. I can kind of feel that. Because we have to get out there and do it, so eventually it burns off. That's what this is. This is a burning and purifying of the ego, in my opinion, for the general mass. And so for Cancer, you're burning and purifying the ego around your social media and your public persona, and then you're liberated, and then you are most likely going into some sort of joint partnership. So collaborative is very blessed. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got some more red. So here we have red and white in the white magnolia. And I wish, I'm trying to see, like you can kind of see the dimensionality of this flower.
Has more, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a lot. It's subtle, but there are things happening with this flower. It's like, it's because of my light, but it's so dark here. I need the light on. So you can see, like behind me, it looks like it's nighttime.
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Wow.
Okay, so this card, the message is you are divine. There is something in Cancerian's life that will be changing in a big way. I think you were speaking to that as well.
Yes.
And this card too reminds me of looking beyond what is obvious. Like, you see here that you can see one thing, but when I slightly tip the card, you see another dimension to it. So maybe for Cancerians, there's a whole nother dimension that you've missed that now is opening up for you. And Madeline, you were reacting, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. Look beyond the obvious, see what's deeper, trust divine timing. So that's pretty much what Magnolia is here to tell.
Wow, because I have been asking for a sign, and you just literally sent me that sign, because I channel this archangel, right? This kid, right? And that's kind of maybe what my calling is to tell this story, right? And I read about angels are really archangels, and you can see it and I always see him on my peripheral, and it's an angle, an archangel. You see an angel from an angle. Cancer, you're just showing me this archangel, the archangel.
I just showed you.
Yep, and that's what he tells me. He's an archangel, and so that's how you see angels. There's an arc in the light where you can see them, and that's where I see them, right here, like that. So you just showed me a sign right there.
Wow. So anyone who's watching this live or replay time, you were here for a pivotal moment for Madeline.
Yep. Pretty nutty. So yes,
Wow.
Cancers are coming out, breaking through their self-consciousness and their ego, basically. This is interesting. I'm going to go with this ego thing as kind of the main theme here. We're busting through our self-consciousness and getting to the nitty-gritty and doing what we got to do, what we're here to do, and get over ourselves.
I feel like that's been a big theme for a lot of my clients as well when it comes to and it's not just career oriented, or it's like in all aspects and avenues of their life in different forms and in different dimensions. But it's very, very pronounced. So
I love that energy though. Don't you? Don't you much prefer to be that kind of a person, to be free of our self-conscious, fears and stuff? So we're really liberating on that energetic level, which then reflects in our material realm. We're becoming more higher vibrational by doing that.
well, what's interesting too about it is that
Mhm.
is that even though you're able to break through and show more of yourself, that doesn't mean it doesn't feel challenging or that it won't ever feel
Yeah.
challenging again, because at least that's what I've found. Like, okay, I make one move and it's like, oh, wow, this is great. And then when it's time
Yeah.
to level up or expand further, then it's like you have another opportunity. So it's not like, oh, yay, I'm all done. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, that's why these planets go back and forth. You're
yeah,
gonna until you get this,
yeah. So, all right, Leo. Oh my goodness, let's go. 10th house. I cannot wait. Let's
Now
see
hold
what
it up there
happens.
for a minute.
You
That,
know,
if I go like that, you're gonna see it. Okay, good. Leo. Oh, by the way, the Kritika, that nakshatra, is ruled by the sun. It's a fire energy. So this might fire up Leo quite a bit.
interesting.
And so, yeah, Leo are going to have Taurus in their 10th house of career. So, and also status, how people see you. So you may suddenly become known, like suddenly, or you suddenly end a job, like just quit your job and completely be freed up. Maybe some kind of investment, maybe in that new moon you did something that now frees you up and changes your status or changes your relationship status. That's another one that could happen. You know, you've or changes something involving your relationship, work with your relationship. So you're going to have Pluto in your 7th house after this, which is going to really transform your relationships and who you are in relationships. And but with the moon there and Uranus in your 10th house, it's like you could have sudden success in social media. You could suddenly meet somebody, suddenly get a career up, bubble up. You may change something very radically, and if let's say you're the boss, you may fire somebody. Let's say you're the employee, you may quit that job because now you're liberated. It liberates you to step forward, or something. Let's say you are on your independent path, you may quit some entire aspect of your work and you then change it into another area because you feel like that is a more humanitarian needed cause, and that is actually what you and your partner are here to do. Because by the way, this is all about soul contracts. It's even in the Vedics, they talk about that. So, and then the nodes, squaring your nodes. So this is like, sudden move. By the way, you could move because it accesses your 4th house, sudden changing in living situations. But your ruling planet is in that 4th house, so that could be a move, radical, sudden shift. But something in the career takes a complete turnaround, what did somebody say? This full moon was like a freight train making a U-turn.
How can a freight train make a U-turn?
Like, ooh, I don't know. I mean, it just anyway.
Maybe a boat, like a big boat could make a U-turn, but a train,
Yeah,
I don't think a train, I don't know. I'm getting
I know. Well, that's what they say. That's how weird it is. It's like, you know. Anyway, so we've got some kind of liberating, and I think some kind of a result comes in from that full moon in Taurus. It's a receiver energy, even though there's some, it's by ending something in the ego, the limited ego. This is all connected to that eclipse too, that Aries eclipse. It's kind of at the same degree. It was at 21 degrees. Something that we are limited, and we end that old way of thinking. We end that old way of seeing because of what's happening in the world. In the background, we have a radical shift, change in our destiny. We have a new way of seeing the perspective, and we step forward and initiate some kind of new career as a calling and drive, and being decisive and serving, knowing. That's the other thing about this full moon. There's a knowing, a decisiveness about it. Warrior, knowing it's your calling, passionate.
Leos know about that. It's funny.
Yeah.
As soon as we started talking about this, I got really hot.
Did you?
Yes. I was
Wow.
like, whew, I feel hot. So
Maybe you're going to get all heated up about something and get out there and do this. And then you're knowing this is what I'm here for, you know?
I'm going to do the thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. We got more Venusian
Ooh.
energy here with the pink primrose. And I love the yellow and the white in the center. Okay. Love this.
Yeah.
Rapid growth internally as in personal growth and
Wow.
externally as in your career. Right there. It's like, I don't really even need to say
There you go. Bingo.
However, it's fearless readiness, thinking outside the box. And I can say for me personally, I've been really reflecting on that. Like, how can I share what I'm meant to share, the information, in a way that's playful and fun and interesting versus me just talking, maybe some play acting, or maybe I even thought about utilizing some photos or like capturing moments that would draw people's attention and then want to understand what was going on and how that might affect them and their life. So really interesting with that. And then just make it effortless. So that's another part of it for myself. I don't want to make it hard. I want it easy and smooth. And
Yes.
I mean, I feel like most of us want that, but
Well, Leo is out of alignment if they're not having fun. And it's too heavy and it feels like work, and it's just, you're out of alignment for Leo. You're supposed to be fun. And just like the center of that card, you look, I said, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Say.
I said, I wanted to show the sun card because look at that. That's the center back. Yeah. And that's the Leo card, right? That's the energy of Leo.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like, this is it. You go in there, you shine out, you light up, and you light everybody else up. That's the energy of fire. That's this whole thing. It's ruled by the sun. It's nakshatra. So it's very good for Leo. I told you it's gonna they're gonna get passionate.
Boy. All right.
Well, I'm excited by that. All of a sudden I got heated up. That's the energy of Leo. They warm everybody up. The sun, think of the sun, right?
The sun, the bright shining sun.
Next life, I'm coming back as Leo. They have good hair. You can see a Leo a mile away by the hair. They've got a full head of hair. And they have a fun time.
We do have fun. That's true. Okay.
Virgo. I mean, I have a full head of hair too, but I'm just saying Leos are thick hair. You see them a mile away, you go, that's a Leo.
It's our mane.
Yes, Dan.
This is why when my hair was falling out so drastically and dramatically, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know what I would do. That's
not good for Leo. Yeah.
No, not good. Not good. All right.
Just like Sagittarians. Sagittarians is the thigh, ruled by the thigh, right?
Yeah.
And if a Sagittarian has weak thighs, they're not in their power. They have to keep strong thighs. Just throwing that out there. All right. So Virgo, you're going to have this in your 9th house. How exciting is that? That's like a suddenly being freed up to travel. Suddenly just like freeing yourself up, or from an old belief that's been holding you back and really not enabling you to go forward in relationships, because there's a Venus quality here. So it's almost like some radical shift in a belief that makes you very, very, very spiritual. And you suddenly believe in some sort of higher love, or you suddenly believe in astrology, or you suddenly believe in, there's definitely a liberating of an old rigid way of seeing things, and potentially relationship coming in, because you've got Saturn there in your 7th, but also because that is a later in life partnership house as well. It can be, and in general, you'd have to have other things going on in your chart to indicate a relationship for that one to happen. But this is a liberating idea and a belief that literally changes your direction and path in life, because I mean, that's kind of for everybody, but for you guys specifically, involving a limited way of seeing spirituality. And where is that Neptune pointing to your 7th house? You kind of wake up to a spiritual calling and a joint, you make a decision based on this new belief that you want to do something or step into a spiritual pursuit or calling or purpose, and involving your partner, because it's making a nice sextile to the 7th house. And it's, again, there's a really positive energy to this. It's almost like this is love amongst the ruins. I'm telling you, I love it, because this is a destructive energy where we burn the unpurified, and that's our ego. So you can see that as actual, outplay in, violence or cutting things and alcohol or whatever, or you see it as just done with a way of being that is causing you to have stuckness in your life, or way of thinking. You're breaking free of an old belief that enables you to now go forward in some sort of spiritual mission with your mate. I mean, I can think of some Virgos, they might suddenly, they wake up to unconditional love. Maybe a relationship comes from the past that they wouldn't have allowed back in their life. Well, then they realize this is a spiritual, because that 9th house is spiritual, that trying to your 7th house, this is a spiritual mate, like your true divine mate, your counterpart. Because Jupiter is the energy of your divine calling mate that supports your calling, that you come together for calling or to have a child. It's about expansion. So for Virgo, this is, now again, you could have to end an old religion. You quit your religion radically. If you're religious, you come from a religious background, or you just become very religious about something, all right.
Wow.
And you have a new one. You have a new burn and purify. You burn an old one away, and now you purify to a new pure truth, higher truth.
Well, the navel orange blossom for,
Oh,
see if I can, yeah, it's this light, because I had to make it on.
yeah.
This card, the navel orange blossom for Virgo, is very much inspiring. So you were talking about all these different areas of life that they might feel inspired by when it comes to like expanding their knowledge, traveling, expanding experiences, relationships. So this is a flower that reminds us, or gives us the message of, it's good to be alive, and there's inspiration all around. You also feel like, and this connects with what you were saying about potentials for a relationship. It breaks down those walls inside that may have created to protect yourself in some way. So it allows you to open yourself up to a person, or maybe to a belief system, maybe to something that you have closed yourself off to before. But what I also really love about this is the colors of the card. It's got the oranges and the yellow, so it's very creative. There's a sensuality to it. There's a bit of a playfulness to it. And there's also personal power. So all of those energies for Virgo. Yeah, I think that's all. That's it.
Well, that's interesting, because a lot of the reads I do in relationship readings, a lot for Virgo, the man or the male will have a wall up. So it feels like part of this Critica thing, this knife, this cutting, is cutting the old walls down, which is ego too. So it's like just cutting it out the wall, and breaking free from a wall. That's another emancipating energy.
It's interesting how
walls, they don't want to feel, they're afraid of love, and it's too deep, so they put walls, protective wall. This is the energy of protection too, I forget to add. So there's this like protective wall up a lot of people have towards love.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I personally have experienced that myself, still kind of working through it even. But it's so fascinating why we would do that to ourselves, cut ourselves off from something that's so beautiful.
Right.
Pain, obviously, is the number one reason, fear of being hurt, or having some sort of heartbreak. But it's hard to have.
A lot of men and also women are afraid of vulnerability, to let anyone in close, especially if you have unhealed wounding there, because then you just get triggered when you let people close. So you don't want people to know that you're suffering, or that that's where your pain is, and you don't even want to go there.
Right.
And somebody that can, your true love is going to take you into some deep pain that you don't want to feel. So you're going to push them away, and you're going to put a wall up. And that can be for the feminine too, if she's chasing him, because she's trying to get away from her feeling pain. And so so then she tries to break down the wall, but Anyway, not to get sidetracked, but we are up at Libra now, so that is interesting.
Oh, Libra.
Okay. So yeah, so Libra, you're going to have the South Node on in your sign. So this is basically the South Node is going to move into Virgo in January 1. So this is the last releasing of toxic patterning in relationships and that Venus square. So there is some sort of toxic patterning in relationships that has put you in the wrong relationships. And I know a Libra ascendant who's going through this. And you now go the right way. You now you end that pattern. You end that pattern of like karmic relationships, lust-based relationships, security-based relationships that you're just in because you just get along and you like the person, you know, just to be in a relationship. You know, we've been talking about this for Libra. So now you get this, the South Node is right there, Venus squaring at your planet ruler, ending some old patterning and patterns in relationships that then enables you to go the right way and into the true relationship so that you can actually go into your joint partnership thing. And so you've got Taurus over the 8th house. So you're literally ending a fear, bam, ending a fear of vulnerability, ending a fear of letting someone in, ending a fear that God's not there, discovering God in your relationship, like a big transformation, because that's a transformative house in allowing somebody in, ending the ego barrier. Since we were talking about walls, I know Libras have a few that have walls up as protection from a true connected relationship, because then again, you feel your feelings. Libras don't like that as much because they're air energy. They like their head space. So they're really discovering ending karmic cycles in relationships big time and becoming purified. So you're burning, you're ending a relationship and you're burning a pattern, and then you're purified now to your true relationship. And facing this sort of fear. You've got the nodes in your 8th house, in your 7th house. So you're some sort of perception or belief or fear-based protective thing was stopping you from the relationship that's right for you, that's involving your true calling and your purpose and mission. So you now end a fear of letting someone in, and you then step forward into your true destined path that this your ruling planet squaring the nose is trying to get you more in alignment to, which is the true soul contracted relationship where you step forward and serve humanity in the way that you were destined to do, shall we say.
Oh, this card.
Oh,
Golden Columbine. So to me, this is just like personal power, personal power, personal power, and just expanding it out, like shining it out. Okay, crazy. What were we talking about? Vulnerability. This allows Librans to expand and widen their capacity to be vulnerable.
wow.
This is literally like,
Whoa.
woo. It also, guess
great.
what? Allows
What?
them to accept more love.
Well, isn't that interesting?
It dissolves self-criticism. It dissolves the fear of judgment. And it allows them to make friends with their inner demons. That is so 8th house.
Wow. Yes.
So 8th
Wow.
house. So I really feel like the Golden Columbine, and I wish you could really see the multidimensionality of this flower as well. It's so, it would be so healing for Librans to really activate this flower energy for this upcoming full moon. Bring it into your life in whatever way. You know, I'll remind everyone, take a screenshot of the flowers, look them up online, go to lotusway.com. This is where the cards are from, the elixirs, all of the products that I use. There's a discount code below. Check that out there, especially if you feel like this is going to be a tough go for you. You know, when you're feeling like this might be challenging. And I think 8th house and 12th house transits can be difficult. So this might be a good time to invest in a little support. So
yes, the 8th house is a moksha house, which means it's a liberation house, but it is one of the more challenging houses, and you do face some major fears. I mean, you're facing this fear of letting somebody in is not like a little thing. It's like big thing. It's like this is like a paralyzing type 8th house fear where you think you're going to die. It's that kind of a feeling.
it's, yeah, those are tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
or pain. You come in contact to a deep pain. So, okay.
Scorpio.
Scorpio, woo, ruled by Mars, which is in Leo right now. So Scorpio, hold that up for a minute. Scorpio has Taurus over their 7th house of relationships. So they could radically end a relationship. Most likely, most Scorpios are going to end a relationship. If you're in your true divine partnership, you've already been through these eclipses and you've been in a relationship and still together, you're there. If you've made it through, if you were in a relationship during those Taurus Scorpio and you're still in a relationship with that person, you're good. But a lot of people who are not with their true person, they're going to end it if they got into another relationship since all those eclipses. And I know a couple of Scorpio who have. Those are going to fall apart. There's definitely some serious ending of codependency, and if you are in your true relationship and this is like ending some sort of nonsense or some sort of baloney in the relationship, like, I'm not going to do this anymore with you, I'm not going to argue about this anymore with you, this is who I am, I'm not going to. And if you're in the right relationship, it's okay, it's going to stay. And because this is the Scorpio Taurus axis, so it's, that's in your 7th house, this Taurus thing. So there's something where you just change a pattern and a, shall we say, old cycle of behaving, and you're just done with this. You're just done. Let's just say you've been doing all the work in the relationship. Taurans tend to be sort of, we're looking for Scorpio. So Taurus over your 7th. Let's just say you rule by Mars. Maybe you put a lot of effort into your relationships. Something about what you do in your relationships, you're done. You're done of doing this, and you're liberated, and you become more yourself. It's probably on some way that Scorpio probably, I would say, wants to please the relationship, or always somewhat focused on the relationship, or being, shall we say, dramatic in the some kind of a habit, some sort of a destructive way of being in the relationship ends. And they may try to destroy because this is a destroying energy. Like, maybe this is something you stop doing and you go, well, he may walk out on me now because I'm not going to do this for him. I'm not going to make him dinner every night anymore. Right. So he may end it because he thinks, or I'm just using that. And it's a silly example, but like, oh, I know like someone who said the guy wanted them to do a different job or quit that job, and say, no, sorry, I'm not doing that. You can walk. And then if it's your right person, they stay. But there's this is very courageous. This is that warrior, like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm setting a boundary. I'm setting a big boundary. You either take it or you leave. I'm not going forward with you. I can't be free. I can't be me. Now, then you have this courage in you because you're going forward with something. And then your partner, if you're in the right relationship, completely steps in and supports you and sees the humanitarian effort in the calling, and they most likely join if you're in the right situation. If not, you end it, and then you become aligned to your person who will join you and walk your calling path, because that's how it's designed, that you have a masculine feminine partnership, feminine yin yang, receptive outward energy to pull together, and then you have very powerful yin yang energy, which causes change, which enables you to have the strength to change the 3rd dimensional reality field. And make change. So for Scorpio, now they are again, their destiny is changing with the nodes wherever they are. Why can't I see the North Node? Oh, there it is. So basically, because the North nodes are shifting there in your 6th, you're going to shift to being of service in some way that becomes very, very clear, that is in alignment with your soul contract. And this is suddenly stepping into service really radically, and knowing what that is. And it's like, oh, that way, boom, this is how we're going to be of service. This way, you and your mate, like, okay, we get it. This is the way we both can do it. That it works. So it's like finding that stable ground, or finding that mission, because it's in your 6th house. We've got that nodes where you and your mate do find collaborative agreement and are able to really do what you're here together to do, to be of service to the higher, to humanity.
Okay, well, as a Scorpio ascendant myself, I'm kind of chuckling at all of this
Okay.
from my own personal experience, but mostly because of the card. We have the hollyhock.
Oh, and
Again,
it's 2 flowers or 3. Yeah, go ahead.
2 flowers, but this, to me, this kind of is like the,
The mission.
I mean, there's really like 2 missions even, because there's one on
Yeah.
the bottom and 2 on the bottom here. So
Mhm.
it's, but they're all on the same stem. So it's how
Right.
how you're creating something, because right now it's in the 6th house, but it will shift to the 5th at some point, because
Mhm,
then
mhm.
it's like that creative project. You know, getting your health in order, getting your day-to-day in order, and then being ready for that creative project. So for this, okay, I just want to read one of the questions on the card is, are you in a challenging situation or relationship that has you feeling powerless? So for any
Mm.
Scorpios who have given their power, handed it right over to somebody else, handed it to a relationship, handed it to a situation, feels like it could have some connection to finances in some way. Now is the time for you to
Venus.
really reevaluate that, really
Mhm.
reevaluate that. It also has to do with service, being of service,
Mm.
caring for others, being soft. This feeling, the message is soft is transformative. So really being, they're having a gentleness. You know, Scorpio, think of the scorpion, that like sting. Okay, it doesn't have to be like that all the time. It can be very gentle. Trust, unconditional love, those are also keywords, and abundance in relationships. So I feel like that was
Mhm.
something you were talking about too, Madeline, like coming together and then creating and crafting this
Mhm.
mission in some form, whatever that takes on, and that creating abundance within the relationship. And then also, you know, we have, this is a Taurus full moon, so
Mhm.
financial abundance as well. So this is a really beautiful energy for Scorpio.
Yeah, because this is a creative energy because it's ruled by the sun, which is Leo, which is creativity, which is the 5th house, which is something out of nothing. So like a pregnancy is something that you create something out that has never been there before, just out of the blue. So that's a metaphor, making a baby, but the 5th house is basically the message of making something out of nothing. And there you
Mhm.
have 2 flowers together making little buds.
Little baby buds.
So for some Scorpio, that could be pregnancy and a baby.
So
Of course, not to forget that too. Yeah.
be aware. Be
Yeah.
aware.
So Saggies have Venus, I mean, Mercury in your 1st house and ruled by Jupiter, which is in retrograde still. And you have Uranus, this full moon, basically in your 6th house. So health could be triggered, issues of health, depending on if you have any planets there. You could be triggered into be a lot of Sagittarians are healers. They have planets in that 6th house. Rising. My sister's a Sag rising, and she has her son in the 6th, Taurus. She's a master's in nursing. So it's like they're medicine people often if you have planets in your 6th and your 8th. And so some sort of transformation around your health and your day-to-day life completely changes. Now, maybe you set off on a new path health on that new moon in Taurus in May, which now you see some really powerful results. And you make a major quit, or you really quit sugar, like you really quit something, or you quit, you know, let's say if you have an addiction, you quit it really, like if you're an alcoholic, just quit it, like suddenly, like all of a sudden, bam. My sister quit alcohol when she got pregnant, and it was just, she was kind of a heavy drinker, and then all of a sudden, bam, she didn't, the day she got pregnant, she quit. So it's like that's the kind of energy there with that um Uranian energy in that 6th house, or a health situation shows up that makes you could have a health issue, and so you have to quit butter or fat or something, but something changes really radically about your day-to-day that liberates you from a struggle in your health. It could be good information. You know, good news comes in, like you have good results around your health and you can quit doing a health regime, like quit your medicine if you've been on medicine. so something radically changes, and and in this house, and changes your day-to-day living, where you completely change. Like, let's say you quit a job because that's a sixth house, and you've been commuting, you no longer commute, and your health is better. Whatever you quit or whatever ends in your day-to-day life here that you make a decision to be done with is going to liberate you from a stress and from something that hasn't been healthy for you. But or you could fire somebody, because the sixth house is employees. You could end a pattern of stressful living, and you change radically, because if you don't change, you're going to get a heart. If you don't learn how to calm down and de-stress, you're just going to keep getting sick. So, you know, this kind of radical turnaround and change around your health and day to day, that liberates you from some not so good where not so good destiny, shall we say. Go ahead.
Yeah, as you were sharing that, the bee balm,
Oh.
can see this.
Mm-hmm.
It activates hope, and the message is be still.
Oh.
And so maybe for Sagittarians, it's all about their about a natural balance in life, like transition into a place of, Sagittarians are very active, very go. Like, okay, I got my eye on that target. I'm going for it. I'm going to do it. And nothing is stopping me. And maybe it's just like not stopping, but just bringing some balance and stillness so that you can actually line up with that target the way you wish to. And also, with that sixth house, there's some energy of a traumatic experience maybe that has happened, or that you're still finding your way through. It could be you could also be confronted with a major change in your life in some way. And how do you handle that? How do you find stillness when you're feeling unstable or uneasy? And that feels very much like the energy that this full moon is bringing in. So finding stillness, finding a place of like, okay, I know it's going to work out, will help you navigate this full moon with some little bit of ease.
Yes, that is such an interesting card that came out, because something that I work with Sagittarians is they don't have to try, because you're already Jupiter. You're already like, you've got a bazooka of energy in your chart. A lot of Sagittarians have a lot of fire. So it's like, if you try and push as a Sagittarian, you will block, you overdo it, you try too hard. And that causes stress, because then they get upset because they don't understand why they're blocking something. And so it's like, this is exactly the message for Sagittarian, which is you don't have to try. Just being Sagittarius is enough. You're just already Jupiter. You're already giving off like a vibe-raising energy,
Yeah.
So yeah.
You don't have to work. You don't have to work quite so hard like those Capricorns.
Yeah.
So what's going on with those Capricorns?
That's right. Okay, Capricorn. Talk about hard workers. Okay, Capricorn. So this Capricorn are going to have this Taurus over their fifth house. Very nice. So this is great. I'm glad for Capricorns. They deserve it. They do. They work very hard. This is time for them to play and be creative and be emancipated through either having a child or a new creative project. But again, something you may have gotten, I guess it's not 9 months ago, but a pregnancy may have occurred in that May, or the metaphor of a project began, a creative, something out of nothing is now coming into culmination, fruition. It's like basically, and it is a Venus house. I mean, it's the sun house. So it's like fun, creativity, being free, breaking free from some ego restriction that where the Capricorns are too serious, because they get very serious and pessimistic. Capricorn can be pessimistic. It's ruled by Saturn, which is pessimistic. So now they're like ending some sort of old pessimistic view of doomsday attitude about something not working, and they're like, whoa, this is going to work out. Wow, this is a good house of fun, joy, relationships, being freed up of some sort of ego barrier to being more playful and fun. It's almost it's like love amongst the ruins. It's almost like, well, everything's collapsed. I don't mean everything's collapsing. I don't mean to scare anybody, but it's almost that destructive energy of like, well, my life feels pretty destructive with Pluto having gone all the way through. You're like, whatever, let's just have a good time, I guess, forget all that like some kind of something that a Capricorn may have built may have just gone kaboom, and they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to have a good time anyway. Like, whatever, they're letting go, they're having fun, they're releasing, they're playing. This is great, actually, really nice. Now, a crisis could occur where they end relationships or projects or creative projects that were not part of their destiny, that they don't have fun in, that they need to just break free from something there that's holding them back, that isn't in alignment. And then becoming more extrovert, getting out there, being free. It can also be the stage. If it's not a child, it's like, if it is a child, your whole life changes, of course, radically, and you're going to live the way you want to live for this child because you want it to be healthy, and you're going to change the way you live. But if it's a project, same thing, you change the way you live so that you can really focus on this creative project and radically change relationships, because now it could very well be a relationship comes in that is a friend, now turns into a serious relationship. You have a good time. It could definitely be that, because we are looking at joint soul contracted projects. It takes two people to make a baby, if that's the metaphor we're using here.
Interesting.
What'd you get?
You're like a little kid, Madeline.
I know.
What'd you get? What is it? Let me see. Okay, so Capricorn, here we go. We have the night blooming Sirius for you. And to me, this feels so light and bright and expansive, just like what you were talking about, how that Pluto transit through Capricorn was so heavy and so hard.
Yeah.
Now looks like playtime, party time. Let's just have a good time. Fearlessness is one of the key words here. The courage to take a leap in some way. So maybe that leap might be to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
It dissolves any subconscious limitations that might exist. And it also gives Capricorns the opportunity to realize what their true gifts are and how to expand on them. I feel like they feel like their gift is work, like hard work only. And that's a big part of who they are. But there's also, not really, and there's also gifts that you carry that make your life easier. Expand on those, and then the work won't feel quite so hard. You'll be able to have time for fun and for play. So the night blooming Sirius, and the other thing too with this is a flower that only blooms at night, obviously. And so maybe for them they can have some fun, like playtime, like get your work done during the day, and then in the evening at night go out and bloom. Have a good time, go to a show, and the night, and now because of the season, is earlier. So it's not like you're working till 7 o'clock and then thinking, how are you going to go out at 9? It's wrap your day up a little early, maybe at 4:30, then go and maybe have a dinner with your love, or go catch a live show somewhere, or go, if there's some sort of activity or hobby you've always wanted to do, go take a class in the evening, something like that. Like just, enjoy your life a little bit.
Yes, that is so creative self-expression, because the fifth house is creative self-expression. So it's the more that the Capricorn steps into creative self-expression, the more successful they are.
Love it.
Yeah. And it's like, that's your true self coming through there.
And it is very big and bold. I mean, the fifth house is Leo. It's another one of those cards that takes up the whole, another one of those flowers that takes up the whole card. So,
and there is some confidence there. There's some trust there. It's like, to step into the creative, because you see and I think I've said this before, the goat will always land on their feet.
Yeah.
So they can afford to take risks. And when they do, they're trusting God and or the universe, or, stepping into a more abundant energy. All right.
It's time for them.
Yep.
Right,
Aquarius have this energy of Taurus in their 4th house. So liberating from a property, ending a property, foreclosing on a property, or literally like knocking down an old structure and bringing it down to build a new one. Or selling a house, ending it, suddenly moving, being done with a, or maybe family ending, family changing, getting divorced there. Again, I forget with Taurus over that seventh house. I think we talked about that, but yeah, but like suddenly moving. What else could that be? Suddenly ending a family and then moving, or setting boundaries in your home really strong, being really firm with your children, and saying sort of like no, and maybe giving money to a child. Is that kind of an energy like, but somehow you're liberated here from some sort of situation at home or family that's pulling you back. Maybe a house is draining your money. It's a money pit, so you just get rid of it, and you could, what else could that be? Like a culmination in your fourth. I think that's kind of all that's coming to me. You may, end a family situation, or move out. Maybe if you get divorced, you move out of a home, or you move out of, you stop living with your mother if you're living with your mother, something like that. Or you suddenly are able to, other things happening in your chart enabled you to move into a better situation, because we're really shaking up, in my opinion, especially by the look of the cards that are coming through.
Okay, so this is very interesting. I've never had this happen before.
Okay.
So when I shuffle the cards for most of my readings, I would say 98% of the readings, I shuffle, the cards fly out, the ones that are appropriate for whatever it is. That's my system. And today when I was doing that, there was a card that came out, but then my finger kind of smacked it back down. So I pulled it out, but I decided to set it to the side and shuffle to see if there was something else that was more aligned. And so funny, I'm going to show you the two cards that came out.
Yeah.
They're almost like twins or sisters.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
So obviously this, let's see, this was the first one to come out, and then this was the second. So there's clearly, to me, all this, the Venus energy to me is pink. I see it as pink. Yeah. Very Venusian. So we've got like very clear pink energy, very clear Venusian energy. Now, fourth house to me, mother is fairly, I think of mother as that soft pink, very nurturing, gentle sort of energy. We all don't experience mothers in that way all the time, but that's the archetype, general archetype of it. So we have the peony and the pink lotus. Now, the peony attracts abundance, and it also brings in a feeling of gratitude. So the way I would translate that is that when you're in that sense of gratitude, you attract abundance to you. And abundance, when you're thinking about fourth house, might be having the money in order to move into a new home, or clearing some sort of ancestral something, family lineage something that allows you to attract abundance to you, which could offer you money for a home or whatever. Like, so many storylines here. So for everyone listening, feel into what's true for you. Then we have the pink lotus. All right, another pathway of transformation or change for them is to look within. Find that divine guidance within, and there will be spiritual insight and understanding. Again, this to me really connects back with that ancestral element for people, bringing in, especially as we're coming off of this. I mean, the sun is still in Scorpio at this point. So we still have that energy of the veils being thinner, of really being able to access that wisdom from our ancestors. And one of the best ways to access it is when we go within. We seek that understanding of what has happened prior to us in order to, create a home that's maybe different than what our our lineage had. You know, maybe you had a very overbearing mother, and now you are, you know, you have a child and you're recognizing you're following the same patterns, and you have this insight of, wait a minute, I don't want to perpetuate that cycle. I'm going to do something different. So both of these cards, while having different energy, do carry a thread, a golden or pink thread that I feel like could be really supportive for Aquarians, and, you know, feeling that sense of healing, feeling that sense of the connection with mother. And, you know, it is the moon. We're talking about the moon cycle here. So, you know, there's always that aspect as well. So peony,
Wow.
pink lotus.
Yeah, that looks like joint partnership, goal, soul contract right there with those two cards. You know what I mean? Yin and yang, and the light workers, you know, the Aquarians we're entering into the age of Aquarius. So
It's a lot.
yeah.
This is good stuff.
Yep.
All right.
Third house placement for Pisces.
Pisces.
So this could be suddenly moving in, because it's very much local area. You suddenly change your environment around you, like who your neighbors are. There's a good chance this is a move. And then you end a work or business, you stop doing a business, or you end a media, or you end your social media platform or website or something. You change it radically. You become completely, something else is going on in your chart that's changing your life, a relationship or something, and you suddenly change it. Like I can see my son like completely changing his whole media persona, because we're ending some sort of ego, more non in our authentic, because we're going to be liberated by these changes because of Uranus there. And I'm seeing the algol aspect mostly because algol is also very abundant. So we're ending something that isn't making us money and helping us make more money, or helping us because of Venus helping us make more money and more in alignment with our soul contracted partner. And so it's like ending something and doing something with your partner instead, or starting a soul contract with someone that could be a form of what you were doing, but you now see clearer what we really were supposed to be doing. Like it changes shape and it fits better. It's more you. It liberates you from the person you've been trying to be on social media or in the media. So you become more authentic person there. That's a theme. And then you've got this Pluto leaving your 11th house. So you're ending karma in your network, social media, your some kind of fear-based, survival-based lack of play energy, wherever Capricorn is. And so now you become more empowered. You've got Saturn there and you're going direct. So you're feeling much stronger, more empowered, more like stepping forward, and more confident about this new way of communicating or being, or new website or new media way. But also there's going to be an ending there with that Critica energy where you're just done with something. You're just completely done with one way of being on social media, or something that you've been selling, or some business or a job. And it's just you felt trapped and stuck, and you're just cutting that cord free and liberating yourself. And then again, with these Uranian transits, things are coming in that surprise us, that may help us change direction. Something you see, oh, I need to go this way. It's clear. This is going to be more abundant. I get it. This is what humanity needs. We're going to get a lot of clarity of what we really are here to do, how we can really help humanity now. Move us into the age of Aquarius becomes very clear. And we go forward very strong. Critica is very strong, decisive. Tarzan, well, let's do this,
All right. Well,
All right, Pisces.
we have the papaya flower for Pisces. This message is gentle is powerful. It's giving them an opportunity to open up, accept help, be receptive. When you were talking about the third house too, and your neighborhood and that kind of the local feeling, it's, are you allowing the people around you to help out? Let's just say you've got to go out of town and you're trying to figure out who's going to come and water your plants. And you don't want to ask anyone in the neighborhood. You don't want to be a bother. So you think, I'm just not going to go. So it's being able to ask for help, receive help. This also is an energy of collaboration. So collaboration in many different ways in your life, and compatibility within relationships. So that ability you were talking about, you were talking about relationships and finding that place where you feel really comfortable with people. Doesn't necessarily mean exclusively romantic relationships, although that could be part of the story.
Could be partnerships, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I just love how, there's like, you have sunflowers that are blooming, sunflowers that aren't quite yet. It's like it feels like Pisces are in process, like they're going to see those bursts and those beautiful moments. And there's more, but there's also, having that opportunity to open yourself up, which is going to just bring those to you more quickly. It's not like you're having to do everything on your own. Like you're not the lone wolf out there. So the date palm flower for Pisces.
Yeah, I like that for Pisces. That's like, relaxed energy, being relaxed about, because if that's hitting in their media house, maybe they're really just sort of not putting on an act anymore. They're just kind of mellowing out and just kind of doing what, really we're here, especially with Pisces, we're really here to live our gift, but we're not really here to control the outcome. We're here just to do what we're here. We're just to put our gift out and let God in the outcome, right? So Pisces, that's kind of the energy where the Pisces is going, well, this is my talent, my gift. God's, if I'm going to be successful at it, that's in the universe's hands. I'm just supposed to show up and do my best. So it's almost like in that relaxed energy, they then become because it's not fear-based energy, it's trust-based.
Yeah. And that's something I think we're all learning more and more how to do and experience that. So
yes.
Yeah. So a very powerful full moon in Taurus happening on the 17th of November. We're here for you.
You get it on the 17th?
15th.
15th. Yeah.
15th. Sorry. I misspoke.
Okay. I suddenly got, yeah. I was just going to say the overall arching outcome of this, whatever happens, is better, is higher quality life, more Venus, more living the way we pleases us, the way working or on a destiny or on a path that pleases us. Because when we're living our true path, it is very fulfilling. So we're busting through these fear-based, we're transforming and we're purifying, we're burning through the ego and purifying our cause and our mission and stepping forward from a place of purity and of service and to serve humanity. So we're warriors now. We've healed. We have Jupiter. What was it? Chiron is, we've got Chiron blessed here. Forgot to mention. Where the heck is Chiron? Oh yeah, Chiron is being trined by the Mercury and the Jupiter. So we're ready. We're ready to be warriors and step forward and do what we're here to do with our counterparts or our partners, and step into our missions that are going to basically save the world. Basically, we're all going to be heroes. This is the hero. Critica is that Tarzan jumping through the forest with a knife. We're going to go wild and
that's it. We can all that's all we can do is just live our best life, be our best selves, and go with the flow of what emerges to, again, the best of our ability. And hope
for the best for our country. Because I mean, the other side is there could be, wars, or I'm hoping that it ends the war because of Critica being there in the South Node there. I hope it's like we end the war, but just to be prepared for, other wild events occurring in the world that we can't anticipate. That could be violent, that could be war. This is a part of the sky that can be war.
Yeah. And if that happens, it's part of the bigger picture plan that needs.
It will liberate us in some way. That's why I'm leaning more that it ends. So I'm praying for that. Yeah.
Aren't we all? Okay. So thank everyone for being with us. We appreciate your presence here. We are here for you. And we thank you for being here for us so that we can continue to do this and support you. Please do like, subscribe on both of our channels, and our information is below if you want to reach out to us for any support during these wild, wild times. So we will
Yep.
see you in a couple of Tuesdays, same time, same place, and we'll be talking about the Sagittarius new moon
Ooh.
stuff. All right. See
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thanks for watching.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.